This right here is a Chevrolet C8 Corvette in 124 by Maisto. It's not the original 2020 release, but the High Wing edition. The C8 is the 8th gen Corvette, a radical departure from the looks and styling of all previous gen Corvettes, in that it is the first mid-engined model, which is why some people have nicknamed it the Euro Corvette, because of how Italian it looks, compared to previous Corvette generations, which were all front-engined. Some people say it looks like a Ferrari from Wish. Other people say they love the new redesign. I personally am a bit of both, and this car has been reviewed by so many people in 118 that I thought I might show you the 124 version. Right off the bat, only the doors open on the 124 version, but Maisto sells a fully opening version for their Chinese market. And it uses the same body as their export model. What that means is that the hood and trunk on this 124 model are separate pieces with hinges and can thus be opened, but have been sealed by those with a plastic tab from underneath. All you need to do is unscrew the chassis, grab a pair of pliers, cut the tab, and you can turn your model into the 118 version where everything opens. The only things you don't get is the plastic insert for the front trunk and a smaller insert for the relatively tiny rear trunk. Maisto made this car in a bunch of different colors. They made it in red, in yellow, which looks awesome, in light blue, and in this white. Now, as I review this Maisto, I'll make some references to the Motormax, which has also made a 124 version of the C8 Corvette in white. Taking a look at the front of the 124 scale Maisto Corvette C8, you can see that the two black stripes look absolutely amazing on this model, and in the middle of the front we have the Corvette logo, which is also done nicely. If we take a look at the headlights, you can see that Maisto has done a pretty good job on them because they don't have any pegs and they look very similar to the 118. We've got like a single Y-shaped DRL in silver that gives it that definition. But one thing the 124 Maisto C8 is missing are the orange indicators off to the side here. The front also has this really aerodynamic look with like 3 big air intakes, although these are just for the brake cooling rather than cooling the engine because the engine's at the back. The front air intakes are done really nicely. You can see how they have replicated the same pattern as on the 118 here on the 124, and it's not only the hexagonal vents but also the finer horizontal vents between them. Now all these plastic grills are made out of a matte plastic on the Maisto, while they are of a gloss black plastic on the Motormax. I prefer the matte because it keeps the plastic inserts low profile enough to make them look like real grills, while the shininess of gloss black plastic kinda makes it look tacky and immediately gives away the feeling that they're sealed and not perforated. One advantage of the Maisto mold is that the A-pillars blend in seamlessly with the windshield, while on the Motormax, the windshield is a bit recessed. The side view mirror scalps are gloss black on the Motormax, while here they are a bit more matte black. Not sure how it is on the real car though. So this is what it looks like when I open the front trunk. This is where you store luggage in the mid-engined C8 Corvette. The trunk shape reminds me a bit of the Aventadors. As you can see, it has working hinges, but the plastic trunk insert is missing. Still, I think from a distance you can't tell since it is black. And here's a look at the side of the 124 Maisto Corvette C8, and right off the bat I'll tell you what I did here. You can see that the rims have like this silver trim, and that's actually something that I painted onto the model because it was missing on this 124 version, but you do get this on the 118 version. So I've tried to make the 124 look a bit more like the 118 now. But before we go to the wheels, let's check out this side air intake here, which the C8 is famous for. And it looks kind of cool. There's like a black blade sort of thing going along the side, and on top of it, you can see that we also have the gas cap. So if we now take a look at the wheels, the 124 Maisto Corvette unfortunately doesn't have any brake discs or calipers, but this is pretty common on 124 Maistos, so I wouldn't have expected it here anyway. However, the Motormax does have brake discs and calipers, which is pretty amazing, so I miss them here. One advantage of the Maisto, though, is that the wheel hubs have the Corvette logos on them, while they are missing on the Motormax. And now checking out the high wing, you can see that it is held by these two black struts. Actually, there's 4 in total. And it doesn't have any texture on it, it's just gloss black plastic. But I think it still looks nice over the normal Corvette, which didn't have this, and instead just had a small lip spoiler. Now let's check the mirror quality. Oh yeah, that's some really good mirror quality right there. You can see the full reflection. Nothing is distorted. On a 124, that's impressive. Taking a look at the back of the 124 Chevrolet Corvette C8 by Maisto, you can see that the back is done perhaps just as nicely, if not even a little better than the front, because right off the bat, the exhausts look better on the Maisto than they do on the Motormax, because the insides have been colored in black, while on the Motormax they are completely silver. But something you can easily fix on the Motormax with some black paint. The vent panel in between the rear exhausts also has a really nice hexagonal texturing on it, which is a kind of detail level that you wouldn't expect on a 124 scale car, but there it is. Above the rear exhausts, we also have additional vents, and they are also textured, which is nice. You can see it says Corvette here in the middle, above the Corvette license plate with the 2020 logo on it, which I think is the same license plate that they took from the base model instead of updating it to the high-wing version. Taillights are another aspect where the Motormax pulls ahead of the Maisto. Not only is there only 1 peg on each side instead of 2 like here on the Maisto, but the undersides of the taillights are painted in silver, just like in real life, as those are supposed to be the reverse lights, while they aren't on this Maisto. Moving up, let's check out the rear. I just find the thought of the entire rear panel opening weird. So much wasted space on both sides of the engine. Like, if they had only made this hatch in the middle open, it would have made sense. But I guess they kept the Corvette tradition going, which even in previous generations had the entire back panel lift up. Why? Because that's where the trunk was, and you could store all your luggage, so it was pretty spacious. And visually speaking, you also had a larger windshield back then. While this one doesn't even have a rear windshield, just an engine bay cover. We've got the Stingray logo over here, just to remind people that it is a Stingray. And these side vents here also have a little bit of texture on them. It's kind of hard to focus, but as you can see, texture is there. It's of course supposed to be perforated on the real car. And through the panel you can see a little bit into the engine, but I'll open up this part now. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to get a hold on the side, but there you go. Take a look at this, guys. 124, and I managed to get the panel open. Fully working hinges, as you can see here, but this plastic tab was what was sealing it from the inside. So as you can see, I made the incision here, and on the other side as well. That's the place where I cut it. So now it can't lock into here and prevent the rear engine bay cover from being lifted. Now, this is also the part that's missing, because there's actually supposed to be an extra panel right here, which would be where the rear trunk would be. right? So that's missing. That's why you can see right down in there. But if we ignore that for now, you can see that the entire panel for the rear engine is there, you know? Like, you can only see this middle part, like this part, the engine blocks, from the window. But Maisto has also provided extra details here on either side, and I think that these are the exact same ones as on the 118. You can see that they have a little bit of a carbon fiber work on them. If I can get this to focus, yeah. The engine block on the Motormax is painted in a brighter silver than here on the Maisto. But here you get the Corvette branding on the valve covers, while the branding is missing on the Motormax. Despite the small size, this is a 5.5-liter naturally aspirated V8 and is rated 670 horsepower, making it the most powerful naturally aspirated V8, a title that was previously held by the Mercedes SLS-AMG's engine. The Corvette C8 is probably one of the most affordable supercars out there in terms of performance per dollar, especially the base version. Even though that one only has 475 brake horsepower on paper, it has a top speed of 312 kph, which is definitely supercar territory, and more importantly, accelerates from 0 to 100 kph in 2.9 seconds, but only when equipped with the Z51 package. And now let's check out the interior of the Corvette C8 by Maisto. And let's check out the door panel first. Now, on first glance, this really does not look like much. However, Maisto are geniuses, okay? I just noticed this recently. Under the right light conditions, on this 1/24 scale car, they have given a panel on the door insert such an interesting texture that it has two circular, for lack of a better word, cutouts that do not reflect the light in the same way as the rest of the panel's pattern, thus indicating circular speakers. Incredible. But even on the dashboard, they tried to go for that cowhide leather look. The only thing they forgot is to color the trim panel in silver. Now let's take a look at the seats. You can see they have side bolstering and headrests, and I colored in the seatbelt hook in silver. And I gotta say that the overall plastic used for the seats is coarse looking, but the center part has a much nicer texture that is featured on the 118, but also replicated here on the 124. And now checking out the driver's side of the Corvette C8. The steering wheel has a surprising level of detail on it. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Yeah, look at that. All the buttons have been printed. You even got the Corvette logo surrounded by a chrome trim. Infotainment screen is behind it, but sadly without a sticker. But one nice detail that Maisto partially replicated on this 124 scale is the diagonal line of buttons that make up the center stack. However, they didn't label them or put a sticker with printed details, so all you get is like a stairs-like pattern to indicate the presence of buttons. There's also like a storage tray there, and the drive mode selector buttons above it. Also, over there you can see the door handle, which should have been painted silver. Maybe it is on the 118. They used a very faint sticker for the instrument panel, unfortunately. Motormax used a better one. Transmission is an 8-speed dual clutch. And down there you can see the floor pedals. And there are no sill plates on the 124. I wonder if the 118 has any. And now let's check out the bottom of the car. And you can see that the undercarriage has more details on the Motormax than it does here on the Maisto, mostly in the form of some wheel axle details instead of the plain plastic here on the Maisto. Says 2020 Chevy Corvette Stingray Coupe here, and the 5-digit serial is 12,235. the 118 Maisto Corvette doesn't have a more detailed chassis than this. So, since Motormax also made the C8 Stingray in this exact color combo, but with a smaller spoiler, I looked at some pics and it seems it actually had some extra details compared to this Maisto, which is why I made this comparison in the first place. Let's summarize it again. To begin with, it actually comes with silver brake discs and red calipers, while this Maisto doesn't have any. It also has a sticker for the LCD screen in the center console, while the Maisto lacks one. And its red taillights have only one peg each side, while the Maistos have two per side. However, its front and back are sealed, while here, after doing some cutting, you can open them by getting rid of the plastic bar holding them shut. So overall, if you're looking for a 124 Corvette C8 Stingray, I would recommend you get the Motormax because right out of the box, it's got silver brake discs and red brake calipers and visible headlight bulbs and reverse lights painted in silver and a sticker for the LCD screen, all of which are missing on the Maisto Corvette. But recently Greenlight has released the 2020 pace car, which has the Jake skull on the hood, so if you can find that one, I'd highly recommend it instead of this Maisto. But if opening parts are important to you, and you are willing to unscrew the chassis and do some cutting and prying to get them working, then the Maisto Corvette will end up being a fully opening car, which is always something nice to have in 124. You can, of course, take the most expensive 124 route, which is to order this Maisto directly from China, from sites like AliExpress, in which case it will be fully opening without you having to do any cutting, and as a bonus will also come with glass for the door windows. But those China Maisto 124s tend to retail for $30 or more, at which point you might as well get the 118 version, which is fully opening even outside China. So thanks again for watching this episode of Imperial Diecast, guys. I hope you liked it, and if you're interested in more Corvettes, I have some here, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.